So how Danelo Cavalcante escaped Chester County Prison allegedly. So while in the exercise yard, he climbs to the roof, then to a lower secure roof, and then poof, gone. Just like Igor Bolte, back in May 19th of 2023, nearly identical method was used. So suspect is, of course, seen on camera footage, and Danelo Cavalcante is a very dangerous man. Now, he enters the home of Mr. Drummond, taking with him some apples, some peaches, and some snap peas, of course, to fuel his energy. Now, his Houdini and stealth-like ninja ways have evaded capture thus far. His mom pleads for him to surrender. So very, very sad for the mom. Daily coverage can be found on Twitter at Nick the Hat. And so thank you, boys, again for your awesome coverage of Danelo Cavalcante. And here are the phone numbers to call. So who is Danelo Cavalcante? Well, he's a native Brazilian who legally immigrated to the United States after a warrant was issued for his arrest for taking the life in his own country in 2017, the investigators had said. He first traveled to Puerto Rico, where he obtained a fake ID, according to the evidence presented during his trial earlier this month. He settled in Chester County because he had a sister and friends that had arrived here ahead of him, he later had told the police. Cavalcante worked for a while in construction and other trades, the prosecutors had said, and rented a storage trailer that he parked at a lot in East Pikeland Township. Now, Cavalcante was convicted earlier in August of a killing of his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brando, outside of her home in Schuylkill Township in 2021. Authorities have released little information about Cavalcante's escape, saying that's a matter that remains under investigation. He was sentenced to life in the state prison and was awaiting transfer to a more secure state-run correctional facility when he escaped on Thursday, according to Chester County District Attorney Deborah Ryan. Now that was, of course, on August 31st of 2023. So according to the Philadelphia Inquirer News, Danelo Cavalcante was accused of a fatal shooting inside the cafeteria in Brazil. That the crime that forced Danelo to flee his native Brazil took place in a public square in a city in the country's northern region, according to reports from the Brazilian news outlet in G1. So Walter Jr. Moreira Dorez was shot earlier on November 5, 2017, inside a cafeteria in Figueirópolis, a municipality in the state of Tocantins. G1 had reported. Investigators in Brazil said Cavalcante fired 6 times at Moreira Dorez at close range and then stole his cell phone before fleeing the scene. That the local prosecutors in Chester County have said that Cavalcante, a former street gang member, allegedly committed the murder over a debt that the victim owed him. After a fatal shooting, Cavalcante traveled to Puerto Rico, where he obtained a fake ID, prosecutors had said. From there, he made his way to America and then settled initially in Phoenixville area. Cavalcante entered the country illegally, according to investigators. 4 years later, Cavalcante was arrested for the murdering of his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brando, in front of her children. After the news spread Cavalcante's arrest, Moreira Dorez's family recognized him from an arrest photo in Chester County and notified authorities in Tocantins. An arrest warrant for Cavalcante in the 2017 murder remains active. So it says that the convicted murderer who escaped from the Chester County prison last week used a similar method to leave the facility as another inmate who fled it for the second time in May, a source said Tuesday. Now, Danelo Cavalcante, 34, climbed onto the roof of a building at the prison in Poughkeepsie Township earlier on Thursday from one of the facility's exercise yards, according to a source at the prison who spoke with one condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the investigation. Cavalcante then ran across the roof, dropped down to a less secure area, fleeing the prison grounds from there, the source had said. His apparent escape method is nearly identical to the one used by Igor Bolt, 30, who escaped from the county prison on May 19th but was caught nearby just hours later. A spokesperson for Chester County District Attorney Deborah Ryan declined to comment on how Cavalcante escaped, saying that the matter remains under investigation and that the focus is on capturing him. County spokesperson Rebecca Brain also declined to comment, citing the active investigation. The hunt for Cavalcante, a convicted murderer and undocumented immigrant from Brazil, reached a new intensity Tuesday, with resources from the FBI and U.S. Border Patrol boosting the already sizable effort. The Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens confirmed reports earlier on Tuesday that Danelo Cavalcante had escaped from the original search perimeter set up to catch him in Poughkeepsie Township. Now, Cavalcante was recorded on a private trail camera in Longwood Gardens twice within an hour Monday, once heading north at 8:21 p.m. and again returning south at 9:33 p.m. Bivens had said it was likely that Cavalcante had lost his bearings and backtracked to continue his trek southward. That the pressure we are putting on him is working. We squeezed him hard enough in a period of a few days where he couldn't get some relief, and he squeezed out, Bivens said at a news conference. I wish we could have got him, but it's a large, dark area with difficult terrain. Now, as the hunt for the escaped fugitive continues, resources from the FBI and U.S. Border Patrol are being added to an already sizable force that has amassed in southern Chester County. The original 2-mile search perimeter has shifted further south, Bivens said, in light of the recent sightings. The picture from the trail cameras depicted Cavalcante with a backpack, duffel bag, and a hooded sweatshirt. He likely obtained these items, Bivens said, along his travels. There's no evidence that he has any outside help or hidden caches of supplies stashed in the area. You're dealing with someone who's desperate and doesn't want to be caught, Bivens said. If he can find some clothing, shelter, or some food, he's going to take advantage of whatever he can find. Bivens noted that the search for Cavalcante is somewhat unusual, that the wooded areas that he is navigating through are full of thick undergrowth and making trekking difficult, he said. However, unlike other rural areas, Chester County is dotted with large private properties with acres of land. These properties often include sheds and other buildings that give Cavalcante plenty of places to hide and get relief from the search for him. Still, Bivens told reporters that he is confident Cavalcante will be found. He's a bad guy. He needs to be in custody, and we're determined to capture him, Bivens said. I'm confident he will slip up. We're making him move, and that's a good thing. A Westchester man came practically face-to-face with Danelo late Friday when the convicted murderer broke into his home to steal supplies. Ryan Drummond heard a noise coming from his kitchen at about 11:40 p.m., and he and his wife were sleeping upstairs, he said in an interview early Tuesday. He checked on his 2 daughters, then slowly crept to the landing on the 2nd floor of his home at Waterglen Drive. I decided not to confront him and thought it was a better move to flick the light switch, Drummond, 42, had said, and he flicked the light back at me, which was terrifying, so I told my wife to call 911. Cavalcante then slowly walked toward Drummond's living room and slipped out a French door there, Drummond had said. As the fugitive left, Drummond saw that he was carrying a backpack and had put on a white baseball cap belonging to Drummond. Later, as Drummond was taking stock of his home, he noticed that some produce was missing, including apples, peaches, and snap peas. Cavalcante accessed the home through the same French door, Drummond said. The door is old, and it doesn't lock properly. That revelation was especially eerie for the homeowner. Earlier that day, Drummond's 9-year-old daughter expressed her fear to him that the door couldn't lock as the two were sitting on the deck. At the time, Drummond reassured his daughter that Cavalcante was likely far away from their home and that they had nothing to worry about. In hindsight, Drummond now believes that the murderer was camped out nearby during that conversation. The last few days have been surreal. It's tough, Drummond said. We're all jumpy, and I could see that this has taken a psychological toll on my kids. If they're in their room by themselves, they're calling for us. Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens told reporters there have been 4 credible sightings of Cavalcante, most recently on Sunday afternoon, and our investigation at least 2 burglaries they suspect are linked to the escaped convict. Officials say he was spotted on residential security camera footage in Poughkeepsie Township early Saturday morning and believe that they have him isolated in a 2-mile radius that is heavily wooded. Over the holiday weekend, authorities had focused their search on about 270 homes located in heavily wooded areas. Officials are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Cavalcante's arrest. Any information is urged to call 911 immediately. Okay, you guys, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that like and the share. That would be appreciated. Thank you so much. And also, we'll continue to cover this story as it unfolds.